Um, it really is. It's wild to see, what has happened. Gabby, growing up, I mean, she always had those blue eyes, right? Those ridiculous blue eyes, and you couldn't keep her in trouble. Like you would ground her, and she'd start crying, and I fold. When I see a lady cry, I fold. If a guy cries, I don't care. But if I see a female cry, especially my daughter, I fold like a deck of cards. It's bad. So she'd be crying. She actually would just do that on purpose, just so I would take her off ground. It's like, yeah. So, and it worked. But she was great. I mean, it didn't matter. She always wanted to go out and do stuff, whether it was scuba diving with her uncle, myself, or uh, hiking the Appalachian Trail, if surfing sand dunes in Colorado, which, by the way, I'm letting you all know I'm jealous of. You will see me do that. I'm going to fall a lot, but I'm going to try because she had some wild experiences that I could only wish I can experience. It's just wild, the stuff that she was doing, and to see that type of joy that brought her and the stones it took to do that at such a young age. Now that's something I want you to take a look at these pictures, and I want you to be inspired by that. That's what we're looking for. That's something that I want to see. If there's a trip that you guys want to take it now. Do it now while you got the time. If there's a relationship that you're in that might not be the best thing for you, leave it now. We've got more emails of men and women doing that, taking care of themselves first. Take care of themselves first. And watching that happen and seeing that type of inspiration. An email we got from a young lady that her child, who was 11 years old, wants to travel the country like Gabby did in a van. She's making her parents take her to I forgot the Golden Arches.
Arches National.
Arches, there it is. And so it's just wild stuff that she's inspired people to do. Gabby is the most amazing person I've ever met. So if you're going to leave here today, I'm asking that you guys be inspired by the way she treated people, all people. Love knows no gender. Love knows no bounds. She didn't care. She genuinely loved people. It didn't matter. So when you leave here today, be inspired by what she brought to the table. Because the entire planet knows this woman's name now. And she's inspired a lot of women and a lot of men to do what's best for them first. Put yourself first. And do it now while you have the time. I couldn't be more proud as a father. So, Jim. Best, just to be clear, Gabby had 4 parents. They weren't step parents. She had 4 parents that genuinely loved her as if she was her own. And this man is one.
It's hard to see behind us, but I still see Gabby as this. The world sees this, but like Joe said, this is what I see. This is when I got to be blessed to know Gabby. You all got to see our extended family, the Firehouse family, come through here, and that's what we do. We do funerals, fortunately, and we're good at it. I've done them throughout my career. I've written eulogies. I planned these funerals. And not one of them could ever have planned or prepared me for this moment. My grandmother told me that she's going to be 100 next month when we buried my mom earlier this year. Parents aren't supposed to bury their children. This is not how life is supposed to work. But it is an unfortunate reality. I spent a good portion of my life working and trying to earn money to provide for our family and our kids to give them the best life. And Gabby, at 22 years old, helped teach me that you can always make money, but but you can't make up for lost time. Gabby loved life and lived her life every single day. Every day that I still see her as this child, lived her life. She is an example for all of us to live by, to enjoy every moment in this beautiful world as she did. Love and give love to all like she did. Gabby had a tattoo on her arm that read, "Let It Be," the title of a song from a band she loved. The beautiful thing about music is it can mean so many different things to so many different people. There's a verse from that song that speaks to me. When the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer. Let it be. It's okay to mourn for Gabby. It's okay to feel sorrow and pain. But we want to celebrate her and how she lived her life. We need to hold on to all those wonderful memories we shared with her, because that will be the answer. Let it be.
Right. Let it be.
I'm never short of words, but I've been up for days, weeks now with this, and the love and support from everybody, from all across the world, is absolutely amazing. And we thank all of you for remembering her and celebrating her, because this is what it is. It's about celebrating a beautiful person and a beautiful soul. And although there is a lot of evil and wrong in the world, there was more good. And there's a lot of good people out there. And they're all in this room right now. They're all across the world. And they're with us all. I love you all.
Hey, gentlemen, we thank you so much for sharing. And we just thank you for letting us get to know Gabby. What an amazing woman she was. And it's safe to say that she's touched all of us, not just here in this chapel today, but everyone across the country and in the world. And so I'd like to just share with you the poem that's on the back of her prayer card. Do not grieve for me, for I am free. I am traveling a path the Lord has taken me. Be not burdened with times of sorrow. I wish for you the sunshine of tomorrow. Perhaps my time seemed too brief. Do not lengthen it with undue grief. Lift up your hearts and share with me the memories that will always be. And we just thank you for again, letting us get to know Gabby and sharing this time with the community and letting us come together as a community to grieve her loss, but also celebrate her life. And so with that, at this time, we're going to be opening the doors to the public. We will be putting the stanchions in the front here so that there's a nice flow of people coming in. If anyone
And he wants to meet you, and that's what his mother takes.
Yeah, you can stay with me. Yeah, you can stay with me. No worries, we'll see you all.
Lori,
No, I got my water. Where else? I got my.
Hey everyone, how are you doing this afternoon? Everything is muted for the privacy of the public coming in. Hello, Shannon. This is extremely heartbreaking to see her father up there, to see her stepfather up there, to see the police filing in. People are absolutely heartbroken. You're right, Betty. It's a very sad day. And you're right, Phoenix. You can say things like that. You can say it's all about Gabby. It's all about Gabby. Even if you're mentioning what happened to her, it's all about Gabby. You know, I mean, you can't cover up what happened to her. You can't cover up the domestic violence. You can't cover up the way she was treated by him. You can't. No, you're right, Teresa. There's no love for him. There's no love for him. There's no love for his parents. There's none. So I saw a few things in chat where people are like, you know, don't bring him up today. Don't bring him up today. He's responsible for this. And that's something that we can't ignore. When there are problems in a relationship and you have someone who is so controlling, imagine what this woman went through. Just imagine what she went through with him. He took her ID at points, wouldn't give her keys to the van, he controlled her money to the point that he stole her credit card after what he did to her, which we don't even know yet exactly what he did. And had such a hard heart after everything he did, he managed to rob her afterwards. And how her family is holding it together, I will never know. I will never know. Yep, you're right. I see you, ER. And not to mention, the family is not mourning by themselves. They're doing this on a public stage. They had to get everyone involved to find their daughter because he was not cooperating. He wouldn't tell them anything. So they pulled out all the punches. They pulled out all the stops to find her. I agree, Deb. It hasn't hit them yet. They've had so much going on. They haven't even started mourning yet. Haven't even started grieving yet. Because let's face it, they haven't even found the bastard yet. He's still being protected. You know, Brian has all the rights. He has the right to remain silent. He has the right to the attorney. He's got a right to be taken from his house in Florida by his parents to go be tucked away somewhere safe. He's got all the rights. Where were Gabby's rights? She had no rights. He took all of those rights from her before he even laid hands on her. In these situations, I get so upset. And these mothers that protect their sons and turn a blind eye to what they're doing to their son's girlfriend, their daughter-in-law, fiance, whatever you want to call it. When you turn a blind eye to that, it's not uncommon to lead to what we're watching right now. Exactly. And when he's in custody, he'll be protected. He will have more rights in jail than Gabby ever had under his control. Hey, what big eyes? Do you want to grab the link and come up?
Hey, Brooks.
Hey, what big eyes? What a terrible thing. You know,
It's such a sad day. It really is.
it is it's very sad. And this has got to stop with women being treated this way.
Yes.
We should no longer have a society where it's okay to take things from a female and just do whatever you want to do. And when she misbehaves, or however you call it, you can do whatever you want. And when you get backed in a corner like he was in Moab, then yeah, I continue my sentence because I'm just really upset about this.
Well, it's just lack of information, lack of training, and lack of sensitivity. I think that she will live on forever because her parents are starting a foundation, and I have an idea that it's going to be about domestic violence.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. I was doing some research the other day, and I know some people are saying, don't talk about this today. It's all about Gabby. This is about Gabby. This is about Gabby. I understand it's uncomfortable. I understand. And you guys are bringing up some names that are going through my head, and I guarantee what big eyes. Teresa, why am I timed out? I didn't say anything bad. Well, you shouldn't have been timed out. I mean, no, I don't think you were timed out. I don't see any timeouts right now, Teresa. It's probably a mistake. Let's look at the connections with women who have died from domestic violence, the abusers in their family. Okay. O.J. Simpson. Yes, I know he was acquitted. But look at how his mother was in court every day saying he didn't do this. Right now, we're watching Barry Morphew. His mother's right there knowing that Suzanne is dead. Chris Watts, Shanann, and her grandchildren are dead. And Chris Watts' mother is still defending him. Of course, we're watching Brian Laundrie right now. His mother has not spoke. Lip locked. You didn't do anything wrong. Right now, we have Brian Laundrie. And the leaps and bounds his family is taken to make sure he is protected. Jennifer Dulos. That's another one. Who am I forgetting? What big eyes? There's so many.
Scott Peterson.
Yeah. $1 million to defend him from Mark Garagos, and his mother, to her dying day, said he didn't do this. The mothers will turn it around and make it about the deceased.
And don't forget about Michael Peterson too. He threw 2 wives downstairs. He loved to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all these guys that do that, it gives them some sense of power, and it makes them look so small.
Because these are small, weak men with insecurity problems. They want to be in control. Make sure you tell me how great I am. Make sure you tell me how wonderful I am. And when finally the woman's like, look, I'm sick of building up your ego. Sick of doing it. And they start feeling threatened by who should be their partner. And next thing you know, it's, you don't have the money. You don't have the keys. I'm taking your phone. I'm taking your ID. It's crazy. Now, what do you think about the investigation that they're doing in Utah about the way the police handled that situation?
Well, I think that's good that they're investigating that, because it was obvious what the dispatch said versus the reaction there at the scene when they stopped the van. Now, there wasn't that much time lapse, okay? There was a mental lapse, and it's about perception, and we have to change that. I taught my son, you do not ever strike a woman, even if she hits you, because you can hurt her. Women are smaller, they're more fragile. Maybe somebody thinks that's wrong, but that's the way I brought my son up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, a few people have brought up, women that abuse men. So for you crazy ladies out there that just want to go nuts on your husband every now and then, your boyfriend or whatever, keep your hands off. Sit on your hands. Do something. Because there are those situations. But I really want to stick to this with Gabby and the other incidences where there was abuse going on, whether it was psychological, emotional, financial. That's one thing people don't talk about, the financial abuse. Physical, that's obvious. And I think he got put, this is just my opinion, in such a corner in Moab, and he thought he could talk his way out of that. He almost had like a duper's delight on his face. At one point, he was grinning, talking to the police. He knew what he did. Did you see the smirk on his face?
Yes, that was something else. Now, back to this thing, it's not okay, no matter which sex you are, to hurt another person, to attack them, just because your words don't impress them. If you're not getting a resolution by using words, then maybe you just need to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
But he looked so delighted that he could see he was working them, like a comedian works the room. I was watching him, and it was something else. And those cops were just biting into it.
Oh, I agree, especially when he was talking about mental illness, and he said, well, she's got it worse than me, but we don't take medication. Really?
Yeah, and then he said, and she's crazy.
She's crazy. And that's so common. That is so common for an abuser when a woman reaches out for them to say, well, she's crazy.
Yep.
She's crazy. Because, right, women are always the crazy ones. She's crazy. Shannon said, that's the go-to phrase. She's crazy.
Yep. And a lot of times they'll use that word that has a bat associated with something else. She's batting crazy.
Yeah, that's a big one. She's batshit crazy. She will make anything up. She will do anything. She just wants me ruined. It's like, man, people saw what you were doing.
That's still just, it just, excuse me, it just plays over and over in my mind how she was getting slapped right there on the street in front of God and everyone. And then they get stopped, and bless her heart, she starts trying to take the blame because she was afraid what was going to happen after that. If she had told on him, she'd have to live with that the rest of the time. She was trapped. Look at it. I mean, she had that van and she was afraid to drive it. And there she was, so far from home, from everything she knew, and he was slowly going out of his gourd.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And he's basically saying she's crazy. The cop says back, well, my ex-wife is too. So it's kind of like the good old boys club just saying, yeah, I know how crazy is.
Yep, that's what it was. And there was a lady cop there on the scene. I don't know why they didn't let her talk with Gabby, because she might have been, feeling more comfortable to talk to her.
Yeah, I think she would have been more comfortable, and I think that the female officer should have taken her to the side, because this girl had never been confronted by the police. I mean, a lot of people haven't, and she was scared to death. I mean, the one officer said, this seems like, okay, Lip Lock said she did talk to her. Okay. But separating them for the night obviously was appropriate. But the fact that there was a witness that called 911 saying they are outside in public and he's slapping her, Brian should have gone to jail.
Right.
I'm not saying forever. I'm not saying even for 3 days or a week. He should have gone to jail. I see what you're saying, Lip Lock. Okay, so female officer encouraged Gabby to leave the toxic relationship. And that's great advice. I don't think the female officer realized that they're not from there. It's a long way away from home. Now, she did mention she's from New York. She didn't say she was from Florida. Did you grab that, what, Big Eyes?
Yeah. Well, that was her hometown. She had been living down there in Florida at times with him and his family, but that her home was New York.
Oh, no, I understand that. But I mean, I assume that she would say, I live in Florida. If she's trying to get out of there and go, maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Well, they did the van thing up there in New York because that's where they left from. So maybe that was on her mind that, they started their journey from New York. I don't know. Bless her heart. She was so upset. No telling what was going through her mind. Yeah.
So upset. But they were also in New York to see her brother graduate high school, which again, you see he's part of the family.
Yep.
Brian's part of the family. She's part of his family.
Yeah, and you know, it's really sad how his parents have reacted through this whole thing. It just shows you what kind of instructions as he was growing up, what kind of instructions he received, how he was to perceive other people, how he was to treat other people. If, you know, that's their idea of love, I don't want any of that.
No, no. And a mother's love is something you could never beat. Okay. A mother's
Yep.
love is, you can't break it. But when a mother covers for her son that is abusive, then you're not a good mother. Nobody wants to see their child go to jail. I agree with the attorney. I agree with him using all his rights. As a mother, at some point, you know, you say to your child, look, I have gotten you out of the fire so many times. On this one, you have to face the music, because you have done something to your fiance.
Yeah, you know, I can understand the, you know, wanting to protect your child. But by the same token, you don't go against all moral values to do that. I mean, you know, this girl was part of their family, and yet it's like she didn't even exist. And at some point, you know, you don't stop loving your child if they do the most horrible thing on earth, but you still have to say what's right, and let them know they have to fess up to what they've done.
I mean, or not. They don't even have to fess up. They don't have to. I mean, that they don't even have to confess, but they have to let the system play out, and they have to let, you know, their sins come to light. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't just turn my child over, but I wouldn't be so. Granted, I've never been in this situation, but I would never be so cold-hearted. I mean, especially like Chris Watts' mother, who actually blames Shanann for her own death.
Yeah, I was waiting for that to start from them.
That's what I'm waiting on. It's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. Scott Peterson's mother,
Yep.
she dismissed Lacey like she was a piece of Kleenex. We see it right now with Barry Morphew's mother. She's hanging on to this whole thing about her having an affair, and he couldn't have done anything. Well, I mean, if you see the arrest affidavit, it looks like he had a lot of stuff going on, and all of a sudden she's gone.
Yep. This is just so disheartening.
It is, because you would think in 2021, as a society, that these things would stop. I don't think domestic violence and child abuse will ever stop, to be quite honest. I don't think so. I don't think it'll ever stop. But without proper authorities, trained authorities in position, when you see what the police saw in Moab, it could have stopped that day.
Exactly. But it didn't. And here we are.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, she's an adult woman. They're not going to say call your parents, but it would have been a good suggestion.
Right. Or call family, you know, not say parents, but maybe you should get in touch with your family.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pat, they didn't say sleep in the van. They directed her to a place for a shower, etc. And that is one thing we've talked about a few times with Big Eyes. He went to the hotel, but she stayed in the van. I think she was actually terrified of being left, you know?
Right. That was her whole security blanket right there, the van. And um, I can understand how she reacted that way. And she was terrified of being left. I mean, he just tried to do that to her before all this mess started.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm still having allergy stuff. So if you see me mute, it's because I want to cough. I can't see the chat. What are they? Everyone's saying? Oh, I think I'm frozen or something. Let me go out and come back in.
I lost you. I don't know what happened.
Well, everything froze up. I couldn't hear anything.
I know it did
Uh,
on my end too, and then it popped back up.
And so I said, well, let me just leave and I'll come back. I don't know what
How
happened.
weird. Yeah.
Everything just froze up and I couldn't see you talking. And I can't see the chat where I'm at right now because a lot of times it'll mess up if I try to read the chat. And I don't know what the heck that was.
I don't know either. I wonder if it's on their end or what. Hang on, let me see something. Let's see what's going on here. Give me a second. All right, well, now it's back.
Yeah.
Hello, Shell Bell. That was weird.
Yeah.
Hello, Cat Eye. Well, and I think it's very nice that they're letting people come through, from the public. But it's got to be very daunting on the family to open. These are very private people to have their private mourning exposed this way.
Well, maybe this is just like the memorial part, and then they'll have a private service after this. That's what I'm thinking, maybe, because they did want everyone who could come to come and be able to go through the memorial thing.
Right, because I'm not trying to be grim or gruesome. I don't see a casket there. So I'm pretty sure the family doesn't have they're not able to bury her now. I mean, because I think there's a lot of stuff going on to determine what happened.
Well, that could be. I was just going by, the funeral homes that I've been in, and there's a public area, and then there's the private viewing part. So I don't know.
Oh no, you're absolutely right. I mean, because like you can have like the calling hours the day before or the wake, whatever you call it, and then later, you have, the actual ceremony.
Right.
Yes, no, Gabby's parents are there. Her father and stepfather actually made a very emotional speech.
It looks like, it's starting to thin out now. I don't recall what time it was supposed to be, what the hours were.
It's going on up to like 5 o'clock, but I don't think the family's going to speak anymore today, nor should they. I think they've given up enough of their privacy to bring out what happened to Gabby,
Yeah. This has got to be so hard for them. I just, I've lost parents and cousins, but I can't even imagine losing a child.
No. Lord, no. And no one should ever have to lose a child. No. Especially, losing a child. Imagine a car wreck, awful. A random stranger, awful. Someone you knew,
Yeah, someone who was considered family.
someone who was going to marry her. I think it's going to take a long time for them to process this.
Yeah. They're all really numb right now, even though they're grieving and they are really numb. It hits you so much later, and you're never prepared.
No, even okay, so like you said that, you've lost parents. I lost my mother. And even though we knew she was very, very sick, and we knew that, this was going to happen, I was still numb through it. It still took a while for it to actually hit me. So this has got to be a sledgehammer for them.
And something else too is part of the grieving process. I don't know if you experienced this or not, but I did with my parents. You're somewhere and you see someone, and when you first look at them, it looks like that person, even though they're gone, and you can, you almost like run that person down to look at them and see that it's not them. It's part of the grieving process, so you can imagine how this is going to affect them when they're in places and there's just tons of young, slender, blonde girls, how that's going to hit their hearts. It's just, it takes years and years to get past that.
Oh, it does. And death is not something that we ever get over. Especially when it's someone very close to you. Like we're talking about parents right now. It's not something that you forget by any means. And just like what you mentioned, at the strangest time, you're reminded of it. I know for me, Mother's Day is impossible for me.
Right.
Because Mother's Day has always been about my mother. And as much as I love my children, Mother's Day has always had, and that's something I need to get over. I understand, but it's just never been the same.
Right. And every holiday, and especially on their birthday, it's just even
Mm-hmm.
even the day they died, it brings back memories.
You're right. And I mean, even your own birthday.
Right.
Because I mean, our birthdays are emotional, period. They are. It's it's your birthday. And that really compiles it. So they have a lot of stuff to go through. They have a lot to go through. Eric McDowell, you're right. I've heard those moments referred to as grief spasms. They are.
Yeah.
They are.
That's right. And then too, they have this bargaining period they're going to go through because, when you have someone like my parents, they both had terminal illnesses. So, there's no bargaining out of that. But this situation here with Gabby, um, I know that, they're going to think over and over if they had just done this or done that, and that's called the bargaining portion of grief.
Yeah. All right. Well, they stopped the memorial, guys.
Okay.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I know it's not what we really wanted to do on a Sunday afternoon, but yeah, exactly. Rest in heaven, Gabby.
Fly with the angels, sweetie.
Yep, exactly. You did not deserve this. We're going to do a show about Gabby on Tuesday. We're going to actually talk more about stages of grief for her family. We're going to talk about domestic violence, everything that it encompasses. So, we'll get to that on Tuesday. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about Summer. We have some things going on with Summer. And actually, I need to get with you, What Big Eyes, because there's some things I was going to talk to you about for the show with Gabby to see if I'm off track or on track. Because sometimes I need someone to kind of bring me back in,
Okay. Well, I'll DM you my phone number and we can talk. Sometimes it's easier that way than texting back and forth on.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you, Snow. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. So I wish I had more to say, but it just when you see things like this and you see a family and they're mourning, and I didn't know Gabby, but it's hard to process myself that this could happen. But it does. I mean, it does, and it's all too common, and it just needs to stop. It just really needs to stop.
Yes. We need to be a voice for stopping it. We need to put out there about domestic violence. Maybe we can save someone that's watching this, even. I don't know. But, you always have that hope. Let Gabby be something that kicks off something really great.
Well, I think she will. I really think she will, because there was so much attention all at once. So, guys, we will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. What Big Eyes? Yep, get me your phone number. Thank you for coming on panel.
Well, thank you for asking me.
Anytime. I love talking to you. Hey, mods, thank you. I know we had some weirdos in here. Thank you for getting rid of them, because we don't have time for that, do we?
No, we don't need weirdos.
I don't care if there's 700 people in here or 20. We have to keep it a certain way. And these freaks that jump in, when I see that, it takes the mods a half a second to get rid of them.
Yep.
All right, guys. We will see you tomorrow. Rest in peace, Gabby.
Bye-bye, everyone. Say a prayer for the family.
Absolutely. Say a prayer for their family.